Hey everybody, I'm 52 for you and welcome to my 1000 video series on how to memorize cards. And here's how you're going to drill orientation, while also drilling positioning and your person action object list all at once. Go for a walk, recite your persons, actions and objects each step as well as you can. And look at each upcoming sidewalk square like a room to practice positioning and orientation. Another trick I've learned to help with both of those is keep an eye out for your cards in real life. One of my cards is a dove. I try to make note of every dove that ever comes into my presence, especially if it is a mid-right dove, and facing left like where my 7 of clubs goes, which is my dove. If I watch a movie and there is a goat in it, I keep an eye out for any scene where the goat is top right, like where my 6s go. Visualize in your mind as you look at sidewalk squares, but keep an eye out for things in real life that parallel your cards and sear them into your mind. You'll want to go through a deck of cards fast sometimes, just for practice. It's important to at least keep track of which room you are in and your positioning, as well as orientation, dictated by face value and suit. Go through as fast as you can. When you've gone through the deck, do another one. You don't have to shuffle again. All you have to do is take the top card and put it on the bottom of the deck, twice each shuffle, making it into essentially 3 unique decks per shuffle. When using the PAO method, look at 30 decks of cards back to back by only shuffling 10, plus necessarily getting to look at every card as a person, action, and object 10 times. You don't have to start with 10 decks either. Start with 3 or 5 if you'd like, using the top card to bottom card method twice to get the most out of each shuffle. This will make you faster for sure. Time yourself. Good. When my head hit the table, it was time to stop. Speaking of which, there are times to stop training, and my mind doesn't care for the try I'm about to do. Here's where I say, stop, and going for that extra deck that you don't want to do will likely end in an abandoned failure, leaving your card skills on a sour note until resuming, which will affect the next performance. Ending a day of cards on a high note is of big importance. A bad attempt you didn't want to do can break confidence for a week easily, so stop if you don't feel the need, and grind if you feel driven for one more better time, or maybe just one successful deck memorization that day. This is about how to train in your sleep. What you're going to do is memorize 51 cards before bedtime. You heard that right, 51. Memorize. Fully memorize 51 cards right before turning the light off and going to bed. Lay down, and as you are drifting off, rather than counting sheep, take the thought of each card through your memorized deck to see if it's in there. The goal is to figure out what the 52nd card is. See if the person you have attached to the 2 of clubs is in there, the action, and then the object, and if you can't locate it, put a pin in it and move to the next card. Do this for all 52 until you feel sure what the 52nd card is, or you might get unlucky and have to go through the entire list, which is great for training, wondrous for solidifying your mind palace, but costly to sleep sometime. Go to sleep and check the card in the morning. You might want to use this method on weekends, and I've forgotten to explain what to do with the 52nd card in a person, action, object, memorization, where every 3 cards makes for 1 picture. That makes for 17 pictures being memorized, instead of 52 cards, but 17 times 3 is only 51. There are actually 2 different things you'll do, depending on if you are memorizing for a real person or in private. In private, when you have a second deck to rearrange, due to process of elimination, you won't need to look at the 52nd card because when the first 51 are dealt with, the 52nd will be all that remains. What you'll do when you need to vocally recall the deck and process of elimination is hardly relevant, is tell yourself that the entire deck that you've just memorized is in honor of the last card's person. An ace of spades as the last card, I would say my last set. Look to the ace and say to myself, and it was all for Batman. Memorizing cards for a real person can be a lot of fun. My rule is to only ever show somebody once, and then never ask to again. It is a selfish act for me to do this. I assure you, promise you it is. But it's not for satisfaction, as the nervous spike I get doing this outweighs any joy most of the time. In public, that is. But it's selfish because I want to get better, and performing for different people in different situations does this. At home, low to high 30-second range, I look twice at the deck, and most of the time I give 50 to write. Doing this for someone, rather than 35 seconds, I give myself 90, and look up to 4 times before reciting. You'll want to start by doubling your looks through the deck and go from there. Importance of timing just about everything that you do, and maybe even more. Importantly, documenting. I found it helped tremendously documenting every deck of cards I ever memorized before using a camera, on paper with pen. Made the documents to look at right before every attempt, to know what to strive for and every time. I got a personal best in any category. That record went home to my special record sheet of paper, and I felt like a king for 5 minutes. King of my world, king of me, king of cards, king of kings, as I had dethroned me. Subscribe. Next episode, you might be wasting time shuffling. I'm shuffling time, wasting.